Well, good morning, everyone. And I need to ask you, can you simplify this in 20 seconds? So as you are breaking this down step by step, my name is Audrey Codner, and I'm the owner of Math by Audrey, which is an online math tutoring system, as well as resources to help you with your math needs. So as we're breaking this down, you can put your answers into the chat. So we have 6 plus 2 times 5 minus 1 squared. Alright, so we have our many boxes. Welcome in. It's saying the answer is 38. If you think you know what the answer is, go ahead and put it in the comments. So we're trying to break everything down step by step. Now, if you're looking at it and you're like, ooh, I don't know where to start with that, then put a question mark. Okay? That's all you have to do. Alright, so I know a lot of people are like, man, it's early to be doing math. Well, it's either early or too late. Okay? So let's take a look here. So we are going right into my please excuse my dear Aunt Sally from left to right. That is the part that everyone keeps missing. So first we have to do our P, our parentheses. So inside that parenthesis, we have 5 minus 1, which gives us a 4. So now, after we take care of that, we're going to look at our exponents. Well, the only thing that's being raised to the second power, you're not going to multiply the 2 and the 4. You got to take care of that exponent first. So that means we're doing 4 squared. Now 4 squared does not mean 4 times 2. It's 4 times 4. So that gives us our 16. And that answer of 16 is still being multiplied by our 2. So now we have 2 times 16. That gives us 32. And the reason why we multiply before we do the addition is because we're doing either multiplication or division by left to right. Okay, so we took care of the multiplication. All that's left is the addition, which gives us our 6 plus 32, and that gives us a total of 38. Okay. All right. Hey, Mel. Good morning. Okay. So when we're simplifying, you're looking at your PEMDAS. Now, I know there's probably some international students here as well. So we have our B, O, D, M, A, S. So B is representing your brackets or your parentheses, which we did right here. Your O is your other, so that's your exponents. Your D is division, but from left to right we didn't have any division, so we had our multiplication, and then we have our addition. So we will do the same exact thing, but through PEMDAS. Well, hello Felicia, how are you? Good morning. Okay, so let's give this one a try. So as people are coming in, give me 20 seconds. Let's see what you can do. Okay, oh, good morning, Rod. I didn't see you. Nice and bright and early in New Mexico. Right. So we're breaking a lot of these concepts to get yourselves ready for the GED, the ASVAB, the Accuplacer, TEAS test, HESI test, anything that has to deal with algebra. Okay? Yep, fresh set of hours. There we go. All right, Misty, welcome back, Misty. I see you there. Rashawn, thank you so much for the follow, and everyone else with us following and coming on in. So, what do we have? Do we agree with Misty, or do we have something else to add to the party? Okay, what do we think? Okay, Misty switching it up to negative 40. Okay. All right, so let's take a look. So we have 4a minus 3b squared. Okay, Mel got a negative 56. So when a is equal to negative 2 and b is equal to negative 4. So when you're evaluating and they're giving you what the value of a and what the value of b is, all you're doing is substituting. Okay, so that means you have 4 times a number minus 3 times a number squared. So for the a, wherever I see an a, I'm going to replace it with a negative 2. Wherever I see a b, I'm going to replace that with a negative 4. Now, again, I don't see an equal sign, so we're not solving. We're going to be doing a form of simplifying. So that means we're going straight to, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, from left to right. Okay? First off, okay? Baby's in 6th grade. There we go, Miss Trina. Let's go. Trust me. So if anything, inside the parentheses, we don't have anything that we need to combine. It's only a single digit. So boom, parentheses is done. Now, exponents. So we're not multiplying this negative 3. Now before it was a minus, but now that we're into simplifying mode, it's acting as a negative. So we're not going to do negative 3 times negative 4 to get 12 and then you square it. No, no, no. We're not doing multiplication before we do exponents. What is being raised to the second power? So the only thing that's being raised to the second power is our negative 4. So it's going to look something like this. We have our 4, we have our 3. This negative 2 is still here. But negative 4 squared, that's negative 4 times negative 4. That is going to give you a positive 16, not a negative 16. Okay? Let me show you. When you put in the calculator, if you don't put parentheses around that negative 4, you're going to get 2 different answers. So if I just plug it in as negative 4 squared, the calculator is going to square the 4 and just drag down the negative. And that's why you would see a negative 16. But if you put a parenthesis around that negative 4, you're going to have negative 4 times negative 4. And a negative times a negative, that will give me a positive. Okay? So in this case, we're doing a negative 4 times a negative 4. Negative times negative gives me a positive, and 4 times 4 gives me 16. Okay? So now we took care of our exponent. So now we're doing multiplication or division depending on from left to right. A lot of people just say, oh, we're doing multiplication. But if division happens to be the first thing up, we got to tackle that from left to right. So that means we're taking care of that 4 times negative 2. That gives us a negative 8. Now we're going to take care of my negative 3 times 16. Okay, so that gives me a negative 48. Okay, not a positive 40, a negative 48. Okay, so now you have a negative 8 being combined with a negative 48. If you want, you can write it out like this. Negative 8 plus negative 48. Because this minus sign is now acting as a negative for the 48. So I'm seeing 2 negatives that I'm combining. So when I'm combining 2 negatives, my answer is still going to be negative, but I'm going to add those 2 numbers together, not subtract. You only subtract when one's positive and one's negative. So now we have our 8 and 8, that gives us 16, carry the 1, so that gives us a negative 56. Okay, good morning, Brenda. There we go. Okay, so new Mickey, why does square not go positive on the calculator? Calc is short for calc. I know what calc means. I appreciate you. All right, so again, just as I mentioned right here. So if you just plug in, let's see if I can get something, some kind of light. There you go. If you just type in -4 squared without parentheses, you're going to get a -16. Because what the calculator did was, oh, you just want me to square the 4 and then bring down the negative. That's exactly what happens when you don't put parentheses around. You are squaring a -4. So that means you need to put it inside parentheses. So -4 times -4 gives you a +16. Okay? So when you're plugging in negatives, you need to put parentheses around them. If not, the calculator is just going to square the number and then tack on the negative sign. Or we just have to remember the rules when you're squaring with negatives. Okay, no problem. All right, that's why. Okay. All right, so let's try another one. Okay, now if you like these problems a lot and you need more practice problems, there is a link in my bio that takes me to a Stan store where you can actually purchase a lot of my step-by-step books, okay, and also any kind of resources to help you with breaking down these concepts. Now my books, they actually have a video of me breaking down each and every concept. Okay, while I'm talking, you guys can do this. Okay, breaking down each and every of the concept, and also gives you practice problems, gives you an exam, like a mini exam in the back of the book, and also resources to help you remember a lot of these processes. Because some of us, we haven't seen it in a long time. So we need a little bit of reminder, right? So for this one, we want to find the rate of change. Rate of change. So Planet Juice, when you have two negatives, think about, like, say, credit cards. Okay, you had -8 in your credit card. For some reason, they let you go a little bit lower, and so you try to spend something that cost $48. So you're still owing people money. So that's why when there are two negatives, when they're both the same sign, you add them together. When the signs are different, one's positive, one's negative, you're actually subtracting. Okay. Which is 0. Okay. You're so welcome, Planet Juice. No problem. Guest, I see your answer. Z, I see your answer. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. Mel, I see your answer. Awesome. Okay. Misty, I see your answer. Thank you. All right. Maybe one more, and then I'll go with the full-blown explanation. Okay. Brenda, thank you. All right. So, rate of change. Okay, Mario, thank you. Rate of change is the name for slope. Okay. So I want to make sure we get the right terminology. So if they said find the distance, that's a completely different thing. But if they say find the rate of change or find the slope or your m, this is what we're going to do. So since I read from left to right, this is the first point that I see. And the coordinates of the points are always x and y. But since this is the first point that I see, that's why this is my x sub 1 and my y sub 1. Since this is the second point that I see, this will be my x sub 2 and my y sub 2. Now, if you're from a country that reads from right to left, this could be your x sub 1, y sub 1. This could be your x sub 2, y sub 2. Perfectly fine, okay? So now, the formula for slope is basically the change of y's over the change of x's. So we can look at it one of two ways. We can do the change meaning difference. Okay, so all my deltas out there, there you go. Okay, delta meaning change, making a difference. Then I have the difference or the change of my x's. The y's always go in the numerator, the x's always go in the denominator, okay? And noticing I'm keeping with the same pattern with my 1's and 2's. So now let's plug in. So my y2, y sub 2 is a negative 4, minus my y sub 1, which is a negative 4. This is where a lot of people make mistakes. They're like, oh, okay, that's a negative 4, so they just go negative 4 minus 4. No, you're only substituting this negative 4 for just a y. It doesn't change the operation just yet. Now, we got our y2, which is a negative 3, minus, our x2, and our x1, which is 0. So, when you minus a negative, that means it's going to turn to a positive. Because a negative times a negative will give you a positive. So this is actually negative 4 plus 4. If I owed you $4 and I paid you $4, I don't owe you a blessed thing. Stop hounding me, right? Now we have negative 3 minus 0. Well, 0 is neither positive or negative. So if you owe somebody $3 and you haven't paid them yet, guess what? You still owe them $3. So now let's divide. 0 divided by anything is equal to 0. Okay? Miss doing this at school. All right, yep, so Danielo, yes, it's going to be 0. Now, another way of looking at it. I like to show both ways. If you know this already, that's great. But not everyone here has seen me before. You have that change of y over change of x. That means you can also do y1 minus y2 over x sub 1 minus x sub 2. Like I said, I live in the States where we read from left to right. And this is what a lot of people make mistakes. When they do it the other way, y2 minus y1, they do the y's perfectly fine. But then all of a sudden there's some kind of glitch and it makes you want to go from left to right with the x's. And then you're going to get a positive number. It's all kinds of crazy. So what I like to do is just go from left to right. So you got negative 4 minus negative 4. Then I have 0 minus negative 3. When you minus a negative, that still turns positive, and that still will give me a 0. When I minus a negative, this still turns positive, and this will be a 3. But 0 divided by 3, that still gives me 0. Okay, so you can go either way, but notice you're keeping the same pattern of your 1's and 2's. Your 1's and 2's have to line up. All right? Okay. All right. Calculating gradients, Mike? Or Mac, you're using it. You're just not putting it in the equation each and every day. Okay? So it all depends on what you want to do with life. Okay? Now, okay, got a couple more. So a streaming service charges a $12 monthly fee plus $3 for each movie rented. Your total bill is $30. How many movies did you rent? Okay, I'll give you extra time with this. Read, absorb, produce. Okay, thank you everyone for the follows and just coming in. I appreciate it. Right, because we're still exhausting. Since we're still dividing by 0, it's still giving us the same solution. Okay, so Addie, I see your answer. Yep, Salome, thank you. Patient Juice, I see your answer. Michael May, I see your answer. Thank you for coming in. My upside down face, I see your answer. Okay, Exhausting, thank you. Is that Germ Flash? Germ Flash? Flash, I'm just going to call you. Thank you for your answer. Okay, Mel, I see you with the shut up. Okay, Brenda. Choose God first. Well, hello. Welcome back. Okay, I see your answer. Shells, welcome back. I see your answer. Monty, how are you? I see your answer. It's been a minute since I've seen your name. That girl, Glam Doll, I see your answer. Okay, Exhausting, thank you again. Shalom, thank you. My pretty flower, thank you. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, there you go, Shalom. So let's take a look. So we're saying every month there's a fee of $12. Okay, so that's a constant thing. No matter what, that's $12. Plus $3 for each movie. Anytime they say each or every, okay, that is going to be what we're going to multiply. But what's going to be our variable, our unknown, is the number of movies. So we can say 3x. I'm going to say my movies is representing x. If you want to represent M for movies, you can. You can use any letter in the alphabet except for E and I because they're actual numbers. But then say your total bill is $30. So we only have one variable. Okay, we only have one variable. So that means we just need to solve for x. So, like you guys are saying, I'm going to do the inverse because if I need to move my 12 over to the other side of the equal sign, I need to do the inverse or the opposite of addition, which is subtraction. So 12 minus 12, that gives me a 0. But I don't need to put the placeholder because there is still a 3x that needs to come down. Because we know anything plus 0 is going to be itself. Alright, so that means we have our 3x. And like most of you guys are saying, 30 minus the 12, that's going to give us our 18. Alright. Okay, so then use your 81, I see you. So now we want to get rid of the 3 because we want to isolate the variable, the x. So 3x, if I don't see a plus or a minus sign in between, this is multiplication. And the inverse of multiplication is division. So I need to divide 3 on both sides. So 3 divided by 3 will give me 1x, or I can just simply say x. And then 18 divided by 3 gives me 6. Now, x equals 6 means what? That means how many movies you can rent. Okay. All right, are we okay? Are we okay with the setup? Okay, translating from a word problem into an algebraic equation usually gets a lot of people. All right, so we're taking these things step by step. Okay, we've got 2 more problems and then we're done. All right, so again, if you like what you're seeing, you're just like, oh man, I really wish I could get some of these problems. I need some extra practice for my exam. Okay, I do have a link that's in my profile that does give you a free math check to see how you're doing. Okay, not a problem. Okay. You surprised yourself. That's okay. Why are there letters in math? Because we need something to figure out the unknown. So instead of using blank spaces, they decide to use variables, letters. Okay. How often am I live? I try to be live every day. But now that students are starting to get back into schools, Maryland, some parts of Maryland, like Baltimore City, Anne Arundel County, and some other counties are starting on Monday. But Baltimore County, they don't start until the 31st. And that's when officially everybody's back at school. So yeah, all kinds of fun. All right. Why not just use a question mark? Because people don't. They just use a variable. Okay, so I'm seeing 20%. I'm seeing 20%. See 20%. Easy, bro. Well, thank you, Toombs. All right, appreciate you not calling me bro, though. Just started this past Monday. Yes. And, yeah, Georgia, they started early this month. But, you know, where's my percentages? No, it's okay. I'm going to walk you through it. My upside down face front. All right, so Shell's 20. Okay, Brenda, I see a 20. Do this easy questions. And you said, bro. Toombs, again. A little respect, not your bro. Okay? All right, that might work in so many other places, but not here. All right, so when you see a question like this, the ASVAB loves questions like this. But see, here's the thing. If you're thinking about taking the ASVAB or an Accuplacer, especially here in Maryland for the Accuplacer, you're not allowed to use a calculator. So I tried to teach the way that you're going to probably have to approach it. GED, they basically allow you to use a calculator for certain problems that's on the system. So I tried to present it in a way that you're going to see it. Okay? So, yeah, Georgia, you definitely started early. All right, so a short was originally priced at $65 and it went on sale for $52. What was the percent? Okay, now I like to think of it as this. It is your new price minus your old price divided by your old price. And then to change this answer after you divide into a percent, you could multiply by 100. You're like, ooh. I'm like, yeah. So let's try it. Okay, this is probably going to be one of those calculator problems. So the new price, okay? So the new price, it went on sale for 52, and we probably have to do the absolute value. Okay, because this answer should always be positive. So this is what's called a percentage decrease, or decreased percentage. So the new price was 52. Okay, minus your old price, which is 65. Okay, then you have your old price, which is 65. We're going to do the absolute value of this, and then we're going to times it by 100, so we can get the percentage. Okay? So now, if you're wondering where this is coming from, so now you have your 52 minus 65. Okay? So obviously you would have like a negative number. Do not cancel these two things out. You cannot. And I know a lot of people will be like, oh, there's a negative 1, you got 52, so that'll be 52%. No. Okay? You can't cancel this out. This is dealing with subtraction. This is dealing with the division. Okay? Now, if this was 52 times 65, yes, you can cancel those out. Okay? If this was multiplication numerator, not subtraction, yes, you can do that. But here, we're going to have another, that's 3, 13, so negative 13, 65ths, But since we're doing the absolute value of that, remember, absolute values of a negative number, it always comes out positive. Okay? All right? So now, 13/65. Just knowing my 13 times table, I know that 13 times 5 will give me 65. So if I wanted to reduce this by 13, I got 1 over 5, 1/5. Now, what's 1/5 as a decimal? Well, if you divide 1 divided by 5, you're going to get 0.2, or in this case, 0.20. Now, to change this decimal to a percent, we need to multiply that by 100, or we can follow the rule by moving your decimal place over 2 places to the right. Because when you multiply by 100, 100 has 2 zeros, so you're going to move it over 2 places, and you can get your whole number of 20, and that is your percentage. Okay. All right. Okay, Conrad, not sure when you came in, but I'll repeat. You cannot cancel these two things out because this is subtraction. If this was 52 times 65, yes, because multiplication and division are inverses of each other. So that's when you can cancel out, okay? Because that's a common mistake a lot of people make. Totally see it. But since you're subtracting, you have to do your subtraction, and then you do your simplification, okay? You're so welcome. Okay. So instead of you trying to flip, who said that? Shalom, I think it was. Instead of you trying to flip, is it old versus new and new versus old, just keep with the same pattern. New minus old divided by old, do the absolute value. Because if you're going to get a negative number, do the absolute value so it's a positive. So you don't have to flip anything around. The absolute value is going to help you out with that. Okay? Okay, so the absolute value will definitely help you with that. Okay? Why am I dividing by 13? Because I wanted to simplify my 13/65. And the thing that 13 and 65 have in common is a 13. Because I know that 13 times 5 gives me 65. Okay? All right. We're good with that now? All right. You're so welcome. Okay, any more questions? Okay, so if you get a positive answer, you don't need the absolute value. Plus the absolute value of a positive number is still going to be positive. All right, no problem. Was that Running with Wolves? Hello, welcome back. Your brain bad. What you learned 3 algebra classes in college? Yeah, DD. All right. Okay. Right. So now. And we have one more, and then we're done for today. I know, just that. Okay. So the major thing with any kind of math, and I'm going to be truthful with you guys, you have to know your multiplication. That's how it makes it easier. You have to know your multiplication. If you can get it up to the 15 times table, that'll be awesome. But really, we have to know and understand and memorize up to the 12 times table. Because all multiplication is fast addition, but then you can feel comfortable enough to do your division, which is the undoing of multiplication. And then you'll be able to do fractions, you'll be able to do percents, and you'll be able to do decimals. Okay? All right. So, Let's take a look. Candidate needs an average score of an 80 across 5 tests to pass the training module. Her scores on the first 4 tests are 75, 82, 78, and 85. What minimum score must she get on the 5th test? Okay. Nick, I see you. Thank you so much. Okay, discriminant. I do. And a lot of that is inside my books, inside my videos. I only do a small set of stuff because I don't want to sit here and be like, hey, let me show you everything. And then you're going to get overwhelmed and then you're going to shut down. That's not what I want to do. I'm not here for any kind of judgment. I'm just here for support. A little bit at a time, working at a pace that I'm at. If this is too slow, thank you so much for coming. But this is how I'm going to do it. There's plenty of other people out there that will probably be your cup of tea. Okay? All right. So let's see right here. So Flash, I see you. Okay, Misty, I see you. Thank you. Cam, I see you. David, I see you. Thanks for the follow. Monte, I see you. Okay, Miguel, thank you for the follow. Shelly, different Shelly. I see you. Okay. Misty, I see you. There we go. Shells, I see you. All right. Okay. Get. I see you. Brenda, I see you. Planet Juice. Henry, perfect. Okay. So we can approach this one of two ways. Because let's be real. When you're taking a lot of these standardized tests, most of them are going to be multiple choice. So you want your multiple choice answers to kind of help you out. So one of the ways that you can do it is you can take one of your multiple choice answers, pretend that that's the 5th test, then you have to find the average. Finding the average, that means you're finding the mean. So you're basically taking the 4 test scores, adding them up, and then there's like a 5th test score, which we don't know. And we have to divide it by 5 because that's how many tests that we're dealing with. And they want to get an average score of an 80, so that means this bad boy is going to equal 80. Okay? So this is like when the key part, knowing what the word means. So average means you're going to find your mean. You're going to add up all your data set, divide by the number of entries in that data set, and it has to equal what your average is. Okay? So now, 75, 82, 78, 85, that's like what, 320? Yes. All right. So we have 320 plus our unknown divided by 5 equals 80. So if you wanted to, you're like, all right, let me use that 80. Let me see if that works in here. So if I do 80 plus 320, that will give me 400. Now, does 400 divided by 5 give me 80? Yes, it does. Okay? If you want to, you can do it that way. You can put most of your work into adding these numbers together. Again, if you're taking the ASVAB, because this is a sample from one of my ASVAB quizzes that I have. If you're taking the ASVAB, do the work of adding this by hand. And once you get that, then you can try to substitute these answers in for X to see what will give you a whole number. Okay? So here's a trick. Ready? This is 320. So in order for you to get an 80, you can't have a number that's going to have something in the ones column. Because if I put 82, that's going to give me a 2 at the end. 2 is not divisible by 5. That's not going to work. Even if I put an 84, that's going to give me a 4 at the end. That's not going to work. Yeah, this will give me a 5 at the end, but it's not going to equal 80. Okay? Shells is not going to be 4 because they need it across 5 tests. So you have to include that mystery test when you're taking the average. Okay? All right? Okay? So it's not going to be 4, it's going to be 5 because we need to know what's going to be the 5th test. All right? So it will be 80. If you needed to solve this, we need to get rid of the fraction, right? So if I wanted to get rid of the fraction, what's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So that means I will multiply both sides by 5. 5 divided by 5 will give me 1. Then I can bring down my 320 plus x is equal to 400. And then I would subtract 320. Now, if you're in the classroom, you need to show your work. I want to emphasize that. Do not go to your teachers and say, well, Miss Audrey said I don't have to show my work. Don't you try to put words in my mouth. Okay? All right? If you're in the classroom, you need to show your work. So some of your teachers can say, all right, I see where you screwed up at. Now this is how you can tweak it, and at least they can give you partial credit. But for standardized assessments, they don't care. They just want it. Is it A, B, C, or D? So all this cute drawing that I'm doing right here, unnecessary. As long as you figure out that your answer is going to be A, you click it, you bubble it, you circle it, and you move on. Okay? All right. Okay. Right. And there is. And there's multiple ways of getting the same answer. All right? There's multiple ways. But remember, I'm dealing with people that haven't seen math in forever. Okay? Some people can actually do it multiple ways. Okay? And that's the one thing. If you are a teacher on here, please show more than one way. Don't just say this is the way I know how and that's it. Learn another way. If this was another way for you, fine, use this. But never just say, oh, this is the only way that you need to know how to do it. No, because there's easily like 3 or 4 ways how to answer one particular problem. You just have to figure out a way that you feel comfortable with so you can get the correct answers, so your results will increase, and then you'll be able to do whatever your little heart desires by taking this exam. Don't let these exams be the reason why you don't move forward with your life. I'm sorry. That's why I'm here to support. I'm here to not judge. Okay? All right. Right. Yes. Not a problem. All right. So again, if you need any kind of assistance, you can also DM me. I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't have my phone with me. But if anything, if you have any questions, if you want to see the whole thing, okay, for people that like to take screenshots, here's one. But then I'm always asking, what are you guys doing with the screenshots? Are you just loading up your phone or actually looking at it and trying to see, oh, how'd she do it again? Or are you looking at this and you're looking at my YT channel? Okay, I can't say the name of the channel, but you know, if you go to, let me flip this over. Okay, this is what I mean by YT channel. Okay, so you just go Math by Audrey, just like the name here on TikTok. And if you want any of my things, if you come here, I have a free math check that hits on all the concepts that you will generally see on the GED, the ASVAB, the Accuplacer. It's 15 questions. See if you can do them. And if you get stuck on any of them, take a picture of it, send it to me here on TikTok, and say, Miss Audrey, I'm a little stuck on this one. You know, like I tried this one and I really don't understand how to get it. I will write you a response. I think I had only 2 people do that. Okay? And don't be ashamed if you're like, I tried to do it and I have no clue where to start. That's the honesty that I need. So then let's sit down. Let's see if we can break some of these concepts down. So you will no longer have this feeling of, I'm stupid, I'm overwhelmed, I have no help. You have help now. Math scored in the best. Good. Best in? Awesome. Yep, GED doesn't allow paper. They allow paper. Or they might give you a, what do you call it, like a whiteboard and a marker. But that's about it. Okay. Yep. They just won't let you do your own calculator. Back into my life. You don't have to force math back into your life. It's because you have kids that are going into higher classes and now they're asking you questions. You're like, oh, sweet Jesus, I haven't seen that since I was in school. You know, especially kids that are going from 7th to 8th grade, or if they're going from 8th grade to 9th grade. Yeah, I get it. You're taking the aptitude test for a local union. Oh, okay. This is going to help me right now. Yes, yes. And especially, is it for, you're saying the local union, is it for the IBEW by chance? Okay. Is it for the IBEW? Okay. That and operation engineer. Okay, yes. Yeah, so anything, especially with the slope section of it. And again, like I do online tutoring, but if that's too much, you guys can go to my YT channel. I have a whole listing of, and I'm going to organize it soon, I promise. I have a whole listing of all my lives, and usually they're a little categorized. That's why I'm going to try to clean that up a little bit now, because I'm going on to my 400th video. Crazy, right? But if you need something like, say, factoring, or even with equation of line, graphing equation of lines, like I have some videos already on there that displays all of that. Okay? But if you have any questions, ask your questions now. Okay? Just ask your question. Literally, go to my profile pic, click on that, and send me a message. Even if we're not friends yet, I always check the request section. So I'd rather you, and don't just say hi because I'm going to delete it. It's going to, because that's how the scammers try to influence you, which is so disgusting. But say, hi, I was on your live, I'm taking blank test. Just tell me your life. Well, not your whole novel, because there's only so much characters you can have. But just tell me, tell me what you're thinking of. Tell me what you're looking for. Have you taken the test before? If you have, what was your score? What score are you trying to achieve? Because these are all the questions that I'm going to ask you. And even if you're just like, I just want to take it because I just do, or I like your stuff and I just want to learn a little bit more, definitely just reach out. Okay? All right, I'm glad I found you too. All right, glad to be here. Okay, everyone, so I'm going to say it's goodbye, but I will see you guys again tomorrow morning. I'm going to try for the mornings until school starts. I might try to do a couple evening sessions depending on my tutoring schedule, but I think I'm going to keep with the mornings. But I know during the week it's going to be tough, but I'm going to try my best to do some afternoons and evenings. I'm thinking about like 7 p.m. But again, if you miss any of my lives, this is where you can go and get the recording. Okay? And you can always ask questions. All right? Tutor for statistics. Which type of statistics, Nikki? Okay. Oh, thanks, Mel. Oh, Monte. Data analysis. Okay. Which time, teacher? Oh, Eastern. Thank you. For data science, ugh. Yeah, not that type of statistics. I usually do like the general. I'm okay with the standard deviations, and then you have to do the popular and the sample. Yeah, but then when it gets all the way into that, yeah, not me. Ugh. Yeah, and the probability, yeah. I was like, I wish I can say who. Give me a moment. If you do need a tutor, Nikki, on that. If you're serious about it, I can look for someone. If anything, just DM me if you're serious about, like, yeah, I really need a tutor. I'm like in dire straits. Please message me and I'll see if I can find someone for you. I think I know a couple people. I just have to make sure of their availability. Okay. All right. Not a problem. Okay. Perfect. Learn so much math. Do awesome, Chiquita. I love that. All right, everyone. Have an amazing day, and I will see you tomorrow. All right.